Hello everyone and welcome to the next in our series of daily origami for YouTube. Today we're going to continue with our theme of looking at some traditional origami, and today we're going to make an umbrella. Now these look exactly kind of like the cocktail umbrellas you guys might be familiar with. The cool thing is that it does kind of open up a little bit and kind of come close a little as well. It's kind of a fun little pretty decoration. These is a technique that's used actually for making parasols too that were used long ago, and you still can buy those large kinds of umbrellas or parasols in Japan if you visit. So definitely a fun and cool little kind of decorative item that you can make. You are going to need a few pieces of different kinds of paper, and it does take a little time to do all the folding, but the results are really cool. So if you're just wanting some cheap and easy cocktail umbrellas, you're probably better off just buying them at the store. But if you want to make something that looks really cool with a really nice piece of origami paper that you might have, this can be a really great way to use the paper. You're going to be needing one piece of paper that's 15 by 15 centimeters. You actually need two of those for the top and underside of the umbrella. Then you're going to also need a piece of paper that will serve as the little cap piece that we'll use up here. And if your paper is 15 by 15 centimeters, then I'm going to use some paper that's 3 by 3 centimeters for the little cap part. And then I also need a tiny little bit of piece of paper that I can use with some glue to top around the base here to create the part that I use to open and close it with. And that piece is about 1 by 3 centimeters. You're also going to need a stick. So I'm using something like a shish kebab stick would work good. Probably if you're doing it really small, you might be able to use a toothpick, but I don't know how long you kind of want your handle to be. But this is kind of what I'm going to be using for mine. And then you'll also need scissors and glue, of course, and a little, I like to use just a little twisty because it's wire and it has a good grip in things. I'm going to use that to kind of finish things off at the top so that it stays good. You can later actually untie this if you want to, if the glue is really held, or you can leave it the way it is too. You need scissors and glue, so you want to keep that in mind. I'll show you guys what we're going to be doing here. We are going to need to start off with the first folding for the body, which is the top part, and then the inside. And the techniques for both of these are the same up to a certain point, and I'll show you guys here what we'll be doing. So I'm going to start off with a square base here. So first, with my color side facing down, I'm just going to fold my paper in half, both horizontally and vertically here. Open it color side facing up, then we'll fold the paper in half diagonally to make a big triangle. And we'll do that going both ways. Open it up, fold the other way as well. Once you've got all those preliminary creases, open it up and shimmy it around until we can get to the square base here. So you just use those mountain creases, pinching on opposite sides, and push in until it kind of twists around until you get this cool kind of diamond or square shape, which is where the square base comes from. Now the next thing I'm going to do is make sure that this crease that you see here in the middle is clear, so I'll just fold one flap back to the left and then back. Then I'm going to take and fold that outer edge and fold it towards the center. Then open it up, and then take this whole section and open it up so that I could push down on that edge right into the center and reveal this nice big kind of kite shape. So you should get this nice little kite shape smushed out. Now I want to repeat those steps for the other three sides. So first I can just take this left flap and push it back over to the right. And then I can repeat the steps with this left flap. We're going to just fold it into the center. And then go ahead and open it up and smush it out until we can get to that nice kite shape again. Then take the right flap this time and return it to the left, so that you get these two flaps created on either side. Flip it over, repeat the steps on the back side that you wind up doing this 4 times. Once you've gotten everything completed, then you can go ahead and open one of the flaps from left to right, flip it over, do the same thing on this side, so that we're now looking at the part where you can see the white edges. Now I'm going to take the outer edge of each of these flaps and I'm going to fold it into the center. So I'm going to start off here by just folding into the center. Open it up. Go ahead and do the same thing on this side too. Open it up. And then I'm going to take, and we're going to actually open up here and take this crease that we just made, that's a valley crease, and I'm just going to reverse that into a mountain crease. And then push over on the part right there in the center so that this smushes out and you get this kind of lopsided little shape here, a nice little diamond, triangle I should say. Take that flap from the left and push it to the right, and what you should get is this nice little zigzag accordion of creases that are going along on the side there. So I'll do the same thing on this side. Again, I'm just going to open up and take that crease that you see right there. We're going to make that a mountain crease. Push over and down and just kind of smooth out. The part that's kind of hard to smooth out is right there at the top. Do your best to try to get that flat. And then just take that top layer and roll it back over to the left so that you get this kind of cool little folding of the pleating of the paper here. I'm going to do this to the other 3 remaining sides. So if I flip it over, I can do it here, and then I'll be able to open up to these sides on both sides too to do it to all of the other sides. So when you're finished, you should have something that looks like this with all the different sides completed. And then what we're going to do is you want to make sure you make 2 of these because we're going to need one for the inside and one for the outside. So my outside of my umbrella is going to be red and this part's complete, and then the inside part's going to be yellow, and I have this part completed too. So if you need help kind of repeating these steps, go back and watch again so that you can make 2 of these, and then we'll be doing slightly different things to each of these as we go on from here. So I'm going to put the inside piece to the side, just focusing now on the outer part. What we want to do is I'm going to first start with a little tiny cut right up here at the top. I just want to be able to give myself some room so that when I put my stick through I have something to kind of grab hold of. You don't need it to be very big because it's actually up here in repetition through all these little folds, and so when it opens up it'll be a little bit bigger of a circle. So just kind of snip off the top, and then I need to also focus on this bottom part here by taking and cutting straight across this part right here, that edge, across through all the layers of my paper here. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut right through here, right even with the edge. And then if I go ahead from there and open everything up, it's going to give me the piece for the top that I'm going to be using. And you'll see there's that little hole there in the top, and it expands quite a bit actually because of the way we folded things. Now you don't want to mess with the creasing that you've got here. Keep it the way it is, and I'm just going to keep this for a second and put it to the side. This is the completed top piece, so we'll just push that to the side for a second. Take the other piece that's the inside of your umbrella, and what we're going to do on this one is do a similar cut right up here at the top, about the same. And then I'm also going to this time cut down at the bottom, but I want it to be a slightly bit less long than the interior so that I have kind of a little extra edge that I can fold over. So this time I'm just going to kind of come up here. They recommend with a 15 centimeter paper, which I was using, to just kind of bring up about 3 millimeters or so if you're really trying to shoot for making it exact. That's just a tiny little bit, not even a half a centimeter. So I'm just going to cut right straight through there. That should give me the piece that I need here. So that's the completed part there. Now there's one other little step that we need to do here. I need to find where about the center is of this piece, and so I'm just going to go ahead and kind of fold it in half really quick and try to pinch where the center is. And then so once I've got that kind of marked with those 2 little marks there, I'm just going to take and create a little tiny cut on both sides. Now it's probably about half the distance of what you've got here, but I'm just going to go ahead and cut through there. So I've got both of those little nicks going there. Then I'm going to go ahead and open this up. I've got those little tiny nicks in the paper now and my hole at the top. So I've got this completed piece. Now what I'm going to do is we're going to flip it over for a second, and I want to take and pop up so that these parts at the top where I made those niche little tiny cuts are going to become a new edge. And the creases that you see here are going to stay the way they are, and we're just going to be reversing some things as we pop this out and try to kind of keep everything flat here. So you want to just start creating a crease along the edge here of where that paper is. It helps sometimes to just first start by just folding down and kind of giving a little pinch on each of these edges as you go around. It should be fairly natural as you're going between those two little holes that you've cut in the paper. I'm just going to pinch around as I go. So the part didn't open all the way. Just of course make sure it's completely opened as you go around here. So you kind of get that part completed there with the edge being defined on the outside. And then I'm going to be using the paper that I have here to keep all of this inside. So we've got the part kind of flattened out at the top, and this is where we're going to be reversing the outer side's creases, because if you look where we've got these little holes that I cut through, I want that part that matches up with that to become a mountain crease, and then the pieces on either side to become valleys. So I'm going to just start slowly recreating the creases as I go through here, and I get both of these two sides kind of together, and I can draw them together here. So as you're working, I'm trying to show you guys here, I hope this kind of shows up on the camera. You're working on trying to, again, making that crease that's by where the cut is become a mountain, so it's being reversed. I've done it on a few of these. I'll show you guys again over here where I haven't done it. You're going to be reversing that first, making the one next to it a valley, and then making another one next to it a mountain. Try to get a mountain, a valley, and a mountain together and bring them together, kind of pinch them on this side. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to take the part that you see in here, and that part is going to become pinched out to create a little point on the inside. And that's going to allow this to come together here, and you're going to have this part that comes together and comes and dips inside. So that's the pattern that you're going to try to be creating with these folds. Remember, you're trying to keep this inside, this part on the outside, and just kind of work your way around, making sure you kind of pinch with your right hand over here, get this kind of guided so that it can follow the crease that's there. Pinch it together, try to pop it out. If it's not working, you might need to kind of work from underneath too, but you want that crease is already going the right way on the inside. You're not reversing anything. We just need to create the little point so that it can pinch in. And I'm just going to work my way around, kind of making that little pinch there. And this is going to kind of let everything come and collapse together so that we can create the inside of our umbrella. And I'm just going to work my way around on this and just slowly keep trying to pinch that part that you need to right there as you work your way around. And really, if you've just kind of left things the way they are in the middle, this part should come together fairly easily. You're just focusing on reversing those parts that you need to at the top, and then just allowing everything else to stay naturally the way you had it before. Sometimes those do get popped out weird. You need to kind of get them back together the way they should be. You're just going to keep working your way around as you get all these completed. And it does take a little time. Be patient. But if you can get this going the right way, then everything will come together nice in the end. Oops, sorry. And as you get more of it going here, it'll all come together nice. Kind of pop that part out sometimes from underneath. If you need to with your pinky, you could kind of pop it out if it's not going the right way there. These outer ones usually don't give you too much trouble. It's the inside that gets kind of dented or weird. You need to make sure it gets popped out again. To get popped out again, and I get come full circle here, it looks like. So I should have this nice kind of piece here now where you've got the creases from before going and coming inside, and you can kind of really pinch everything together to create everything to kind of come into the center. It's not going to collapse into any shape, but we do have then kind of what looks like a lampshade, really. You've got the this part on the outside all creased off, this little center part that comes up in too. And that's kind of the completed part that you need then for the inner part of our umbrella. So now we've got both the outer area and the interior now. And what we're going to do is we're going to take some glue and we're going to stick these together. And as you do your work, you want to try to kind of move as quickly as you can so that everything gets put together the right way. I've got this piece that I just worked pretty hard to do all that creasing on, and what we want to do is basically line this up with the other things here so that we can kind of fold them together. And the glue really comes So we're just going to put a little bit of glue on this part, and kind of keep in mind that you don't need to put any on the outer area yet. And we're just going to line up our creases here and bring this in and just copy the angle, the creases that we've got here. And give yourself about a couple centimeters, a couple millimeters up there at the top so that we can fold that part down. So I'll take my glue here. And you don't want to really, deflate your creases too much if you can help it. So I'm just going to kind of casually put some glue here if I can. And there's going to be more that we'll be doing to put all this together. So don't worry about making it super gluey. It just needs a little bit to kind of hold it in place. We're just going to go around. Kind of keep these creases together. I'm just going to work my way around, kind of get this glued down a little bit. And then of course try to pinch these parts in. Try to line up the creases as you go. You might need to shift things a little. And then just try your best to keep the crease going here with everything too. Just keep that center part there, of course. We're just using the glue to kind of help us along as we do this. So it's been glued together, but it's not really keeping everything super stuck together. You should be able to get this kind of umbrella looking piece here. And you could kind of flip things over for a second and look at it, because this central part here is not going to have any anything kind of stuck to it, so you can kind of make sure your creases look good from this side. if any parts got a little smushed while you're doing things. And then if you happen to have any glue on any of those areas, you do want to make sure that those parts don't get like stuck together too much, because you don't want a big clump of those sides to not come apart anymore. So we get something like this on the outside and the inside. Now the next thing we're going to do is take some glue and fold down the edges that we have here to create and finish off the sides. And the first thing we need to do is cut a little tab that's going to stick out. As you'll recall from these, there's this little tiny bit that sticks out on the outside and gives it that cool little effect. So we're just going to cut all the way around each of these, and we're going to be cutting right at the point where there's the mountain crease up here on the top from the red side. That's the part where I want to give myself just a little bit. So if I just look here, I'm just going to trim and trim, and then that will give me this extra paper here to fold in. So you're looking at the valley part that you want to do this for, not the mountain side from the inside, because we're looking at the outside that we want this for. So just give yourself a little bit there, cut as you go around in each of these valley from the underside or mountain from the top. Make sure you're getting the right part that you're cutting here. And I'm just going to go through and cut these first. It's going to allow me to have the section then that I need to fold over to secure everything on the inner part of my umbrella. So once you've gotten all of those trimmed off, then I can kind of just look at one of these sides, and you can start off by just folding it over if you want to, but we want it to be flush with that paper edge. And then you just need a tad bit of glue on that, and it'll help secure it over so that you get a finished edge to your umbrella. You kind of bend it to keep it secure, and we're just going to go around and do that for all of the little edges that you see here. And you know, you just keep going around. Pulling this part down to secure things, and work your way around and do this for all the remaining sides. So as I get to the finished last piece here, I just go ahead and put the last little bit of glue on that edge. And you know, it's not really that important to have it super perfectly glued down. It's kind of up to you of how much, you know, you want to really use the glue. You do need a little to tack it down, but if some of the edges stick up, it's okay. It kind of depends on, you know, what you're doing. If you're planning on making something to last for a long time for display, you probably want to put a little effort into making the edges really clean. You know, if you're just doing it for kind of fun, then you can kind of maybe not take each of those steps so seriously, but go ahead and go through and make sure your creases are clear and that you've got these nice points here on each of those sides. This is how things should be looking from the outside a little bit. So this part's pretty much complete. I'm going to put that to the side for a second. Now I'm going to take the little tiny square that we have here, and we're going to use this to fold. This is a 3 by 3 centimeter piece of paper, and I'm going to use it to make the kind of little cap that you see that's on top. So I have my little square piece of paper here. What I want to do is start off by taking and folding up from the bottom, and I'm going to try to come up to about where there's like 3 centimeters or so there at the top. And I'm just going to go around and do this for all the sides as I fold. I'm going to turn and fold, and just not folding in half all the way to the edge, but just to that edge, just a little bit shy of it. And we're going to do the same amount for all 4 sides. What you're going to wind up getting is this nice little section of creases in the middle that give us a nice little crisscross with a little bit of edge to work with. So it's not, there's a nice little cross in the middle. And then I could take from that, I'm going to create if I kind of create a pinch on each side here, I've got the crease that I've made, which is a valley crease. I'm going to create an edge that comes, it's a little hard to see. You're going to be essentially creating a crease that goes from the center of one of those edges, and I'm going to pinch and push over so that I'm bringing this edge to the other side. So we're just kind of creating that little crease. And I'm going to do the same thing over here on this side too. So I'm just kind of creating a new crease that when I push over, it kind of comes over at a nice angle. So it's like creating like the creased edge that you see on the edge of a dining room table with a nice little, you know, what's that called? I can't think of the word. Tablecloth, yeah, a little pinching of the sides that you see on a tablecloth. So I'm going to do that for all four sides here. You're just picking a point, creating a crease right to that point in the middle, and folding it over. And the point is to try to keep the center flat and create these points with this new crease that we're making here. And you know, this part does get pretty mushed up at the top, so I don't think you need to really make this super exact, but you do want to try for some symmetry if you can. Those creases as we go around. So each of the four sides winds up getting this nice little tablecloth crease on the side. So that when you get them all together, you should be able to get this kind of cool little square in the center, and then the little tablecloth piece on either side. That's the finished piece we need then for the top of our umbrella when you folded that off. So put that to the side. Now what I want to do is I'm going to take my umbrella and the little stick that I had, and I cut off a little of it because it's just not such a good idea to have such a sharp point at the top, I don't think, because you're going to run into the problem of it accidentally poking through everything when you're done, which is heartbreaking after doing all this work. So you just want to go ahead and make it a little, you know, smoothed out and cut off the tip there if you've been using something sharp like I did. Now I'm going to start off here just by putting it through here, and then you'll see you can get it to come out at the top here. What we want to do is first focus on putting this part up here at the top. And what we want to do is try to get this to kind of come close as much as we can here at the top. And then from that, I can put a little bit of glue on the red of my umbrella at the top here so that I can get all this to kind of come together. We're going to pinch this on top. And when we do this, I want to also use, and this can be tricky, you want to try it a few times to make sure you get it going right. But I'm going to use a twisty tie. You can use string too, but I love twisty ties because they work so nice with what I'm doing sometimes. I want to put the cap on top and create a space right here where it doesn't fall down like that, right? Like somebody's pants. That's not cool. But you want to kind of pinch it and catch it there so that it can come together. So you can put glue on the red area a little, or you can also, probably even a little more useful, is to put it on this guy here. And it's really about just catching it at the right time here and using this glue that we've got. A good angle. You want to keep this up so that you get a lot of the actual umbrella included with this when you do this. Pinch it down a little. And then I'm just going to take this here few times if you can. You probably don't need it as long as a full twisty tie. That's a little long sometimes, so I'll just cut it off. And you can kind of try to sort of maybe rearrange, like mine got a little smushed. Try to rearrange the little creased sides that you have here. You should have 4 of them, of course. Want them to be all spread out throughout the umbrella. And then the only other risk is, did I make it smushed too much where the parts of my umbrella got smushed? You want to make sure that those are still, the creases and pleats of your umbrella are clear. But that kind of gives me the completed part. Now, you want to give it a little time, or not quite pull on it yet so much and play around with it. It does open nice later, you know, like this, and you can do this. But you need to make sure you've given it enough time to really dry before you start playing around with it. If you're like, look what I made, and you pop it open, it can all fall apart, which can be really upsetting. So give it some time to take up here with the glue. But we are going to put a little bit of paper right down around here to kind of secure this part off and give us something to push on, and also so it doesn't look so tacky that you can just see right through here underneath. So we had that other tiny piece of paper. It's a 1 by 3 centimeter piece of paper, just a little band. I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on it and try to catch just a tad of about halfway through here of the paper that I have. So I'll put the glue on this guy first. And you are probably going to smash it a little. This step is so hard to do without winding up giving your umbrella just a slight kind of offness to it. So these kinds of steps take some time to get used to. You do really want to make it tight because we want, you know, to make it as secure as we can here. But this can be tricky. You want to try a few times. You don't want to make it super tight because you do want to still have a little give there in the middle, so make sure it's not stuck to the stick but just to the paper. And that should give you something that looks like this on the inside. And a nice little finished umbrella when you're done. So, whew, a lot of steps, lots of folding, lots of glue, lots of little cuts here and there, but you do get such a cool looking finished project. It just really was super excited to share it with you guys because I love making these kinds of things. So I would definitely suggest trying this out. It is a little challenging, definitely, and it's not just challenging in terms of skill, it's just challenging on your patience. So make sure, you know, if you can, make it even bigger. It's a lot easier to work with if you're doing something bigger. So, you know, get out some big paper if you have some lying around. You can use old paper bags from the grocery store would work great. You can open those up and use that because that folds pretty good. You just to kind of test it out and have some fun. But definitely a really fun and cool project that you can make your very own umbrella. And that kind of gives you finished things here. The umbrella itself stands about 7 centimeters tall. I must have ran into this and smeared it. Sorry about that. So the umbrella is about 7 centimeters tall. And depending on the stick you use, that's going to change, of course. But the actual spot, the distance here, is about halfway, of course. So, kind of gives you guys an idea. That is our finished project for today. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.